Hey, everybody, welcome out to National Players Club Garage. Fonson here with Aaron Kilgore, the 4-time Super Bowl champ, self-proclaimed fantasy guru.
And my partner in crime, Clint, our playoff champ and Super Bowl champ.
Not a champ this year.
No. It's getting ugly, and I'm going to try and downplay my
ugliness,
my wah factor.
The Wamby Lance.
You know, it's bad this week. It's bad. No, I also try not to dance on the table again. But and to our left, we do have the Estrogen Fest and part of the fantasy
all but
football.
one.
Yeah,
missing one.
But they're over there. So you hear some audio coming out of left field.
You got the Annihilators, the Burn, the 9-0.
Hey!
See?
We're in the playoffs. Hey!
That would be them.
Team ball. Team ball.
So expect a hot mess. We're coming at you with everything we got this week.
But as live as it can
Don't
be.
be bitter.
So, jumping here. I went ahead and did my homework this week, and I did week 11's matchups, some wow and some really moments. So jump in. We're going to start off with my favorite, the 2 Pump Chunks taking on Total Chaos. 79.5 to 118. You got spanked like a rookie. But you tried. We'll give you that. You tried. Although the Sanchez only put up 8.5 points for you. Brandon Jacobs put up 4.5 points.
How's that trade looking for you?
And Aaron Hernandez, the big 6. So, which were his worst factors of the whole deal. The rest of them actually made up his points, which I didn't write all that down because it wasn't necessary. That's what hurt you.
He calls mom.
I started.
He's missing one of his big boys, so I mean that definitely
The Breeze.
comes into play. Yeah.
And I'll be at that stadium next week. This week, actually. So, yeah. We're going to try to take the tour of the stadium while we're down there. So.
Yeah,
if I meet Breeze, I'll tell
him passes on the field with Devin and the girls and stuff. So it's definitely a cool trip.
And
take those pictures. You have to take those pictures in front of your player. It's Witten, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, Witten's is right next to Romo, so you have to get that shot in there. So you're like, hey, my boy, thanks.
But yeah, going on with that, I had the only thing I saw that could have been better for me was the Barber Benson start. I had Benson set up for my start all week long, and
we talked about that. We talked about that last week. Yeah, they want to go Barber. We made the trade. You took Barber,
and I put Barber to start. I like to start. Well, come to find out, Ray Lewis didn't start for Baltimore that week.
No,
and Benson went back
wide out on the sideline, but he was not into the play.
So Barber only put up 8 points. He had 1 touchdown, a couple of yards, and then Benson 2 touchdowns.
I had some concern with him last week.
Yeah,
not that I was giving Benson all that much props, but I had issues with Barber.
I figured it was a coin toss. It might land my lap. Yeah, it was. So everybody else showed up. You know, Romo gave me 24 points.
Hey, now for nothing. At least you get to walk into the draft next year and be like,
"Will you find me arguing
2 and 8, 7 and 3, 2 and 8, 7 and 3."
Motherfuckers don't want to know my beliefs.
Schooled you. So now he's 7 and 4.
Who was on? 3 and 8. Check the link column.
A win's a win. So
there you go.
Love you, Brandon. So moving on down, we're gonna hit
enough to fucking
East Coast meet and the Gnomes. Everybody seemed to pretty much show up for you. You had Matt Ryan put up 23. Antonio Gates showed up with 14.
I got a well-balanced team. Everyone started their job. You know,
Miles Austin being out kind of hurts you.
So that wasn't the big thing. Miles Austin has been out, but I had some other players, some flex players.
Aaron Foster on the bye.
Aaron Foster was huge.
Yeah,
Aaron Foster was.
Yeah, he's a 40-point machine.
Yeah, well, at that sense of like taking your Breeze out or Aaron Rodgers out. I mean, you're taking out that key, your number one player that's basically knocks up. And actually, I still had a decent shot at it. But things kind of.
Well, I had a shot, but Mike kind of laid down in 74 points to the 109 at the Annihilators, and that cost me my playoff run. So, take the good with the bad. I at least took Brandon down a notch, 40 points worth of a notch.
And in the first half, it was actually looking relatively close, and all of a sudden, that's and that's what the Pats do. They go in, they readjust, they came back out.
And that's
And if you give Tom Brady a window, he's going to capitalize on it, and he did. And he did
I don't
to,
believe that your beliefs are wrong. Yours.
Gronkowski.
I am
For not only one touchdown before the first half, but 2 touchdowns before it was all said and done. So not only did she blow up on me, but
I'm for the atheist.
adversely affected my boy and shifted
all
the balance of
of
power
Yeah.
in multiple leagues. So
And,
we'll talk about that later. But
her grabbing the pass defense, 31 points. And I know it's a sore subject for you, and we'll try to avoid it. But my thing with this, though,
you have to address it.
is you
It's
got
31 points.
Yeah, you got a defense that's basically going from worst to first in 2 games.
We got no secondary. We got no safeties. We got Edelman, who essentially up till last year came in as a quarterback for his college team. Came in as a wide receiver / special teams play. They gave him the.
He's pretty much a
kick
jack of
return.
all trades on the field.
Yeah, and he's basically Wes Welker Jr.
Yeah,
and all of a sudden we did with him what we did with Troy Brown a couple of years ago, and they put him in the corner slot as a cornerback
Something there.
because we just have no secondary. And then in doing that, and they give him the kick returns.
And now he's
now
now
kick
your
returns
defense is
for.
coming up. You know,
They
may have been a good
their
adjustment.
secondary is still a nightmare. Their linebackers have stepped up.
But they're starting to show promise with the changes they're making, which is the good thing, especially for the Pats defense. I mean,
in those particular situations, but that's the thing is, Belichick is that situational head coach where he actually picks those things, capitalized on those, but I don't see them doing that to legitimate teams that are out there.
Yeah. So we've got the East Coast meet and 99's East Coast meet going into the game at 4-6, coming out at 4-7. The Gnomes going in at 8-2, coming out at 9-2. So they're looking strong. Definitely a Super Bowl contender there. So
they pretty much have a walk. They can go through the next 2 teams without even having to mess with it. Now they're just playing for a bye.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah. So moving on, we got the Barflies went in at 5-5 against show me those TDs. The other 2-8 team in the division, the South Division.
John was 5. No, John was 6-4.
No, he was 5-5 going into that
very
game.
religious to the point
No,
where
John was 5-5.
you don't go to
I think John was.
Maybe I got him backwards.
Yeah.
Okay,
But anyway,
yeah, John actually had a pretty good lineup. I saw 2 problems. Lions D just died going up against who did they play? I forgot. They only put up 6 points.
against TDs who that was
that
was her defense.
Yeah, that was her
That was
defense.
the
So
big thing we talked about.
they
last
laid
week.
down for it, you know.
But the fact that he was going to get to start,
That's what
who had a good shot at actually making that point for him against her with the defense that she wanted, that he stole from her on draft day, and they didn't show up.
No. But he had Sean Green only put up a point and a half.
Sean Green's
That hurt him.
here and there. I mean, he's been one of those that were, I mean, from draft day, even last year and 2 years in a row, they say he's the starting running back. But he really hasn't come into his own
No, he
steam.
hasn't. Now, his other thing, I do believe he kept talking about his Roddy White problem. Roddy White's never showed up for a game for him.
He hasn't.
This week he did, yeah. 20.5 points for Roddy White.
And that should be a standard for him. But with his past production this year, Julio Jones on one side, and with Julio Jones out, and Southern Kid stepped up last week.
I think
blew up.
that's what he would want.
I expected Roddy White to take a double team, and this kid I actually even went out and picked up this wide receiver to start opposite Roddy White with Julio Jones out, and they give Roddy White some looks.
Sitting here.
It wasn't a huge amount of looks, but you know
it was enough to where he was out in the open and got yardage on it.
You know what? That's what it came down to. He got yards after the catch.
Yeah, big
Roddy
yards.
White
One of
was
them
for him was acute. He actually had yards after the catch, so not for nothing, but that's my quarterback, so that's why I kept him my pick.
Jordy Nelson, 31 points.
He right now is hands down the biggest threat I want to say in Green Bay, and it's a difficult thing to say because when Green Bay, like New England, like a lot of
Share the
Eagles,
And I
yeah,
think
he has
that's
so many
why
other
people
weapons.
believe
Yeah,
so
But Jordy
much.
Nelson has become
go-to
their
guy.
kind of
And a
Wes
god,
Welker, their
because-
slot receiver.
Oh my
Their
gosh.
just I'm gonna go get
He's in, he's open,
catch the
he's
ball
down the field,
make
in the end
yards
zone.
after the catch and blows up.
Right.
I've got
And
Greg
I
Jennings,
wanna
and I
believe
drafted
that
him. He's a
plays.
top tier. He's my
But
number one
for
wide
me,
receiver, and he's not getting
personally,
any looks. It's all going to Jordan Nelson, and he now looks to be
how
not
am I
only
supposed to believe
strong
in
going
this
forward,
heavenly
but
place that I
a
don't know about? And
major
that's where I'm
hold
conflicted.
player
It's like,
for
I don't
next
know.
year.
I
He's
don't
in
know.
the
How does
the top five
anybody fucking
on
know?
the
You know,
Yeah.
but-
his
So
position.
it
So,
should be interesting to see where he falls next year.
And yeah, next season
you
in the
know,
draft
and
would be great.
they
And I do have to say
hold on
this, John. I apologize. Not really,
believe
because
in
if
us. And
I'm gonna win it, I'm gonna make sure my girl's gonna win it. And
for me,
made a
it's
trade
hard.
with her. She didn't have
It's
a
hard,
good starting
you know,
quarterback.
it's
She had
something I
Andy
don't-
Dalton.
But it's not
I
that
had
big, you
two-
know,
a
and
number
you're
of
kind
thing,
like,
though. I
I'm
mean,
this,
Your
because
guys'
I
trade,
just
okay,
don't
one was a
know.
little bit. The first one, and neither one of them were like so obnoxious that it was okay. We need to make a call.
Yeah.
One was you get an upside on the person and the running back, and then the second tier round,
Gave her
it was
an
almost
upside.
like
Yeah.
upside. And I think is Andy Dalton has been legit.
Yeah,
And
he actually showed up with like 25 points this
Yeah.
week. So
And that's without AJ Green.
Yeah.
And the rookie that stepped up in front of him that actually filled his spot, huge.
yeah.
Look for him.
So Stafford put up 44 points for her this week. And
And you let
big,
him go.
big.
Now, did you draft? You drafted Stafford, didn't you?
Yes, I drafted him.
So now you don't have an option on that next year.
Not yet. There's still
I
some going on between
Uh-huh.
the Davis and
Well, no,
Davis.
well, if that comes
And-
back, solely for a
really
draft
like-
pick. There might be some controversy.
I probably won't come back solely as a draft pick because I do have to take on the Annihilators and I do have to take on the Gnomes in the last 2 weeks of the. No, I take on DK. Trudy's taking on the Gnomes this week. So
It'll only work its way out if she's getting something that benefits her team.
she definitely needs some receivers.
And I'm
More likely a running
on-
back.
Who do you have for a receiver?
I have
You know, and that's
Andre
gotta be
Johnson.
good.
I have
Who should
Robin
There
back
is
this
a
week?
heaven
yeah, he's starting.
That's gotta
I've got
be
him in my
good
starting.
enough
I
for
got
me
to
to
start
get
him.
into.
He's a must
that
start,
I'm
regardless.
a good
All right, let's move on.
But
you
yeah,
know,
she's
and
got
that's-
Lloyd to put
How
up
much time we
15.
got, by the way?
Oh, about
You
3 minutes.
You love your kids.
But she
Okay,
had
well, if
Lloyd.
that's the case, let's
You love your your
Wanna bounce a break?
significant other.
Yeah, let's
You
bounce a break.
love
I'm gonna bounce a break and come back and
the
catch up.
God that you believe